There is a story written across the landscape of Southeast Nigeria. It is not written in books. It is not taught in classrooms. It is not explained by official statistics. It is written in concrete, marbles, iron gates, balconies, and pillars. Deep inside villages, far from Nigeria's capital cities, houses rise with an authority that cannot be ignored. They stand tall, they stand deliberate, they stand permanent. To many outsiders, these houses appear misplaced. Why build big in a village? Why invest millions in a place without airports, skyscrapers, or federal ministries? Why not Lagos? Why not Abuja? Why not foreign countries? These questions are asked repeatedly, often with judgment, sometimes with mockery, and rarely with understanding. But to understand this phenomenon, one must first understand the Igbo mind. Because in Igbo society, a big house in the village is not excess. It is philosophy made physical. Across Southeast Nigeria, a striking pattern reveals itself to anyone who looks closely. Deep inside villages, far from capital cities, high-rise skylines, and federal ministries, massive houses rise from ancestral lands. They are not huts, they are not modest homes, they are mansions, multi-story buildings, marble staircases, balconies overlooking farmlands, gates heavier than some city apartments. To the untrained eye, this sight raises a simple but persistent question. Why? Why would a man build a house worth tens or even hundreds of millions of naira in a village? Why not Lagos? Why not Abuja? Why not Port Harcourt? Why invest so heavily in places many outsiders describe as rural? To answer this question properly, one must abandon modern assumptions and step into the Igbo world view. Because for the Igbo people, a big house in the village is not luxury. It is not waste. It is not backward thinking. It is identity, security, history, culture, and power. In Igbo cosmology, there is a concept older than colonial borders, older than Nigeria itself, Alanna, ancestral land. For the Igbo person, no matter how far one travels, no matter how high one rises in society, the village remains the true home. An Igbo man may live in Lagos for 40 years. He may build businesses in Abuja. He may raise children abroad, but when asked, "Where are you from?" he does not mention his current address. He names his village. That village is where his umbilical cord is buried. His lineage is traced. His ancestors are remembered. His final resting place awaits. Building a house in the village is not relocation. It is anchoring oneself permanently to history. Among the Igbo people, land is not merely property. Land is memory. Land is ancestry. Land is continuity. The concept of Alanna, ancestral land, sits at the very center of Igbo existence. An Igbo child is raised with the understanding that no matter where life takes him, his story begins and ends in his village. The village is where lineage is traced, identity is confirmed, belonging is unquestionable. In the city, you are a tenant of space. In the village, you are a son of the soil. This is why even after decades in distant cities, an Igbo man does not say, I am from Lagos. He says, I am from Nnewi, I am from Afikpo, I am from Arochukwu, I am from Osuka. Building a house in the village is not relocation, it is affirmation. In many cultures, success is private. In Igbo culture, success is communal. Achievement that does not return home is considered incomplete. A man who succeeds in the city but neglects his village is quietly pitied, not admired, because wealth in Igbo society is validated not by bank balances but by visible contributions to one's people. A big house in the village becomes proof of effort, evidence of discipline, confirmation of arrival. It tells the community, this son of the soil did not forget where he came from. In Igbo culture, success is not solitary. It is not validated in isolation. A man may make money abroad, he may live in luxury elsewhere, but until his success touches his village, it remains unfinished. There is an unspoken rule: wealth must return home. This belief explains why Igbo villages often appear more developed than government attention would suggest. Houses are not built to impress strangers. They are built to honor parents, inspire young ones, prove discipline, complete the success circle. An Igbo man does not truly arrive until he arrives home. In Igboland, leadership is not imposed, it is earned. Titles, chieftaincies, and community authority are tied to personal achievement, moral standing, commitment to the village. A man without respectable home base is rarely taken seriously. A big house signals stability, responsibility, readiness for leadership. It is not arrogance, it is qualification. This is why many title requirements include a house in the village, space to host elders, capacity to serve the community. Respect in Igboland is earned, not announced. And one of the loudest announcements of responsibility is a man's house. A big house in the village communicates without words. It says, this man can host. This man can carry responsibility. This man can lead. Titles are not given to men without roots. Leadership is not entrusted to those without home base. A man without a house in the village is considered unsettled, unanchored, incomplete. The house becomes a qualification, not a decoration. In Nigerian cities, property ownership is fragile. Demolitions happen overnight. Government policies change without warning. Tenancy laws shift. Land disputes lingers for decades. But in the village, land is different. It is inherited. It is defended by blood. It is unquestioned. No landlord can evict you from your ancestral land. No government agency arrives with bulldozers. For the Igbo man, building big house in the village is the safest form of real estate investment. Urban property in Nigeria is uncertain. Government policies change overnight. Bulldozers arrive without warning. Certificates are questioned. But ancestral lands is different. It is defended by lineage. It is protected by tradition. It is secured by community consensus. When an Igbo man builds in his village, he builds with confidence. He builds knowing no authority can erase his existence. Unlike Western societies that separate the elderly into institutions, Igbo societies value communal aging. Old age is meant to be lived amongst family, among childhood friends, on familiar soil. The village house becomes a retirement plan, a sanctuary, a place of dignity. Cities are for struggle, villages are for peace. Old age in Igboland is meant to be honored, not hidden. Cities exhaust, villages restore. The big house becomes a place of rest, a symbol of completed struggle, a space to receive respect. To retire in the village is not failure, it is fulfillment. An Igbo man rarely builds only for himself. He builds for his children, his siblings, his extended family. generations unborn. The house becomes family headquarters, burial home, wedding venue, crisis shelter. It is common for one house to serve dozens of people across decades. This is not excess, it is foresight. Igbo architecture is generational. A man builds knowing his children will expand it. His grandchildren will inherit it. His name will live inside it. The house is not consumed by one lifetime. It is a container of legacy. This explains the size. It explains the ambition. Igbo villages develop not through government planning, but through personal rivalry. A healthy competition exists. If my mates build, I must build. This competition drives infrastructure, improves aesthetics, raises village standards. Entire villages transform without federal allocation. Competition is embedded in Igbo culture, but it is productive competition. If he can do it, I can do it. This mindset has modernized villages, reduced rural poverty, created organic development without government budgets. Hospitality in Igboland is sacred. A house must accommodate people. It must absorb celebrations. It must represent family honor. A small house limits dignity. A big house protects it. History taught the Igbo people a hard lesson. Institutions can fail. Governments can abandon. Promises can be broken. So the Igbos trust land, family, self-made structures. A big house is insurance against uncertainty. History taught the Igbo people to rely on themselves. Institutions failed once, they may fail again. So security is built in concrete. The big house is not pride, it is preparedness. So when you see a mansion standing proudly in an Igbo village, understand this. You are not seeing waste. You are seeing culture, security, history, pride, legacy. You are seeing a people who never forgot who they are. When you see a big house in an Igbo village, you are not seeing extravagance. You are seeing a worldview, a philosophy, a survival strategy. You are seeing a people who learn that land remembers you, even when the world forgets. This documentary is not about houses. It is about identity. It is about belonging. It is about legacy. If this story resonated with you, support African storytelling done with depth. Like, subscribe, and share. This is 1010 Media.